the black and the red man in Oklahoma. In fact, Oklahoma is, of course, the title of one of our great tribes. But the black and the red that were burned and run out of Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma in particular. So there are those that would say that perhaps this tornado could be an act of God, could be an act of the ungodly, could be an act of man playing God as it relates to HAARP, the High Audio Arroyo Research Program. And, of course, they have the ELF waves as well, which are in, I believe, Colorado, and I believe there's one more, Las Vegas, in which they're able to make tornadoes, able to make and create earthquakes and diverse places as well. I know you say all of it is God, but it's man using the technology in terms of understanding technology and cause and effect. Many of you don't understand or know cause and effect, so you think when you see it rain that a spook produces the rain. But of course the rain is real, so how can the effects be unreal? So that's the issue of the Most High Elijah Muhammad. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam has always shared with us the supreme wisdom and supreme knowledge and understanding, overstanding and understanding to understand that tornado there could be, of course, the result of HAARP. When you look at the weather, as you've seen the weather in this city, in this state over the last couple of days, if you've been keeping your eyes on the sky, but many of you don't even understand what's going on in your atmosphere, much less understand what's going on in the stratosphere, the ionosphere, and all of the other spheres and cores that cover the earth, because in science, they don't want you to understand it, and they make you think you got to get on a ship and go out into space in order to understand just the basic nature of what is around you, but you are a microcosm of the macrocosm. Just as you have different layers of your skin, then you have different layers to the earth as well. So it is above, so it is below. So it is below as it is above as well. So this tornado in Oklahoma City, if you've been reading the news, follows the path, if you do not know. Another bill which passed in the U.S. Senate this week, on the same day that all of the attention was being given to Oklahoma and the tornado and the after effects of the tornado. On the same day, did you know that the U.S. Senate was debating, and not just debating, but voting on the HR, I think this one is HR 300, which is the Keystone Pipeline. And if you don't know what the Keystone Pipeline is, I would encourage you to Google it and learn more about the Keystone Pipeline, which is about an oil pipeline. I know you thought they were just fighting in Central Asia and Afghanistan. I know you thought it was just those with the Project for New American Century who said to the Taliban around the issue in Afghanistan and Central Asia and that oil pipeline, that Unicol or Unical, and many of your sons and daughters are being sent to Afghanistan to protect these multinational corporations that are running these pipelines, but they won't come back home and tell you that. Some of them are building the ditches for these pipelines as well, but they've been sworn to oath or secret oath that they won't come back and tell you what they're doing when they are sent over there to Central Asia and Afghanistan, Pakistan, and some of these other countries that you don't have an understanding of. But nevertheless, I know that the storyline was that the Project for New American Century and Unical, which the brother of Hamid Karzai, the president or the prime minister of Afghanistan, sits on the board of Unical, and along with Khalid Zalmay, who worked under the Bush administration, and others. But they met with the Taliban in Texas, and they were told that either they helped them to run this oil pipeline, they could give them a carpet of gold, or if not, they could give them a carpet of bombs. Now, take that in the Central Asian region, the Caucasus Mountains there, Central Russia, where many of your sons and daughters are being sent, unbeknownst to you. But again, now we bring it on home to Oklahoma, bring it on home to the United States in the Midwest, that many of these storms are taking place along the path of the route of the Keystone Pipeline. And many of the states have been against the Keystone Pipeline. There was a meeting recently with Native American tribes, at least 12 or more, in which they said they would never allow this pipeline to run through their sacred land and sacred territory in Cushing, Oklahoma, Moore, Oklahoma. And when we get an opportunity, I'll go over the map and show you where the states are, where these storms are taking place, where these floods are taking place, all along the Keystone Pipeline route, which is to bring some of the tar sands, or the oil out of the tar sands, which is raising the concerns of many environmentalists regarding the effects that this tar sand oil, some of the most crude oil that will be running through the United States down into Texas and out to the Gulf. But most of your mainstream media has kept you caught up in the distractions and the factions and the fractions, so you don't even know that these bills have been being debated and now have been voted on. And this will have, of course, adverse effects and worse effects on the American people, black, brown, red, yellow, and white, with the Keystone Pipeline. And at the time, you got the Red Cross and all of these other humanitarian organizations asking you to donate to the people of Oklahoma, and we feel their hurt and pain. But you got a big oil company that's right there that could donate to them. You got the Keystone Pipeline tied to the Koch brothers, tied to T-Boon's Pickens out of Texas. So this is big oil, big energy that has bought many of your congressmen, many of your senators, and of course your president of the United States. If you don't believe me, look at his recent appointment of Penny Pritzker. If you don't know who Penny Pritzker is, I'm going to have my brother Fred Hampton on, I believe tomorrow, and we'll share with you who is Penny Pritzker and some of these others that he is now bringing into his administration that normally couldn't get into anybody's administration because of their policies against their own in Chicago, in Illinois, and in other states. But they found a welcome mat rolled out to them under the Obama administration. And so these are two of the stories that I believe you definitely want to look into regarding, again, H.R. 3, which is the Keystone Pipeline. And I believe H.R. 300 was the immigration bill, which is passed as well, at least out of the committee. Now it goes to the full Senate and is estimated that will cost $6 trillion to the American people. But as I said before, buried in it is the waivers for Israel and many other European countries. The Irish as well have come in and asked for a waiver from the president, along with the South Koreans, and the lesbian, gay, bisexual community benefits are buried in the immigration bill, as well as those who will come in and don't have a job. They automatically will be given welfare benefits. They automatically will be given social service benefits. But of course, they haven't told them that many of them will be living in these fusion centers, along with some of the victims of some of these storms. But again, as I've said, we'll go deeper into this issue regarding the Keystone Pipeline and follow the route of the pipeline and looking at where this pipeline runs from Canada throughout many of the states in the Midwest, through Oklahoma, down ultimately into Texas and out to the Gulf. So those are some of the distractions. If time permits, I'll bring it on home locally and talk about some of these other distractions from your city tax breaks, which have passed. But it doesn't help you unless your home has been at least valued at $200,000. And, of course, the audit that faults schools over federal funds in terms of that. And, of course, this other distraction on the national level is the march and demonstration, I believe, that's taking place tomorrow against Monsanto's. And those of you that do not know what Monsanto's is, of course, the large multinational corporation that is and has been given basically through their buying the president, buying the vice president, buying many of your senators, buying many of your congressmen. They have been given control over the food supplies and the seeds, which regenerates the food supply. And the seeds that they're now producing are GMOs. And it's not because of their concern about the American people's need, but it's about Monsanto's greed and those dollars. And now, as I shared with you on Tuesday, that there is a company, Mirad Genetics, that is now looking to do the same thing to control your seed and generations of seeds in terms of a patent on the human body. And this case is going before the Supreme Court. But most of your mainstream news media only told you about Angelina Jolie, and Angelina Jolie talking about she had a bilateral mastectomy, but not telling you and sharing with you and educating you about this company that she's pushing for and working for, Mirad and Mirad Genetics and Mirad Pharmaceuticals, and how their stock now is going up, and they will benefit from Obamacare in terms of the enormous amount of money that you will have to pay them, or the Obama administration will pay them for, again, this test that women will have to have and perhaps men will have to have, but ultimately because they want to have control and a patent over the human body. So let me go to this clip that I didn't get a chance to give all to you the other day with Alex Jones talking about that. And let me think. I think I saw what was her name? Abby Martin, who's not Dear Abby, but Clear Abby when I listened to her show. I think it's called Breaking the Set, in which she is outside of the box and probably has one of the better shows that is on RT News. Again, I think going beyond the corporate views and pushing the corporate views and calling it news. But let me go to this clip on Alex Jones that I was trying to give you the other day. Then we'll come back in. Open up the line, take your thoughts, questions, comments on some of the distractions, again, that are being pushed on the American people, like these scandals, only to divert your attention away from the bigger stories and the bigger issues that are going on. And this is why we have to have those to be able to see through the matrix of misinformation and disinformation and then come on these airways and other airways and share this information with you. But let me go to this clip from Alex Jones. Then we'll come in, open up the lines, take your thoughts, questions, comments. So listen to Alex Jones, Infowars.com, talking about the connection of the womb raider, not the tomb raider, but the womb raider and Angelina Jolie. And then we'll come back in, open up the lines, take your thoughts, questions, comments. You're listening to The State of the City.
Now, where am I going with this? The United States has now been captured by 6 big mega banks. We are now a vassal militarily of that. Europe, Time Magazine headline, banker coup over Europe. And they go on to say it's a good thing. Economist Magazine, world government run by bankers. You'll pay your taxes to them. I thought none of that existed. But here it is. And so they're moving on all fronts to get rid of liberties, protest, freedoms, privacy, all over the world. From Australia to England to the U.S., from Canada to Germany, worldwide standardized tyranny, freedom is being butchered. That's because the elite are getting ready to start World War III. They're moving on every front. They've got proxy wars in more than 14 countries right now, not to bring freedom. They don't care if you're a conservative, communist, socialist, liberal, Muslim, Christian. They don't care what your country is. If you're not fully owned by the bankers, you're going to have terrorist groups or rebel groups, your neighbors attack you. Or a coup d'etat. And it's all public. The Senate even admits it's all there. They have quarterly reports on it. I knew 5 years ago the U.S. government was funding al-Qaeda to attack Iran. That's just been admitted in the last 3 months. Because it was all there. It was all in press releases, 2 different elite think tanks, not for general consumption. The corporate whore media knows don't touch it, even though it's right there. Did you know the U.S. government ran the amnesty movement pressure in Mexico on the U.S.? That was actually in the Dallas Morning News 5 years ago. The point is, it's all staged, okay? And so last Tuesday or Wednesday, I see this video with like 30 million views. Now it's over 100 million, just one version of it, called Coney 2012. And I go, look, it's funded by Bill and Melinda Gates, funded by all these elitists, State Department's involved. And they say, get Joseph Coney of the Lord's Resistance Army. And I'm like, that guy hadn't been seen in 5 years. He controls 200 square miles. That's smaller than Austin, Texas. That's smaller than like Albuquerque, New Mexico. I mean, that's tiny. Up in the northern area of Uganda, it's rumored he may be in the country north of there or may be dead. So why is there this giant total media push of this video and kids buying bracelets that say get Coney and have the UN arresting? And I went and did research just to confirm my first summation of it from the knowledge, because it's so fun to research. I probably spent 30 hours the last 5 days researching it. I mean, just every facet. Bottom line, this is what's happening. The West has brought al-Qaeda in. They're planning to start a civil war like Libya, Syria, everywhere else. The current dictator they've got in place in Uganda has been connected to other regional genocides of more than 7 million people. That's not debated in the last 15 years. Rwanda genocide came out of there. Hutsis, Tutsis, Hutus, all of it. A lot of you are like, why are you giving us all these terms and names? They're able to lie to you because you don't know all this. Okay? So I see on national TV, it flashes to Hitler, Saddam, Bin Laden, and then Joseph Coney, who is like an imaginary Yosemite Sam character. I mean, literally a nobody. And it's all about war. So Angelina Jolie, who supported the Libya war, the Syria attacks, Iran, the police state, the Serb war, all of it, she comes out and says it's humanitarian. We've got to go get him arrested with the UN. That means military force. Now, there it is, expanded al-Qaeda into Uganda. There's the London Telegraph. And again, they bring the al-Qaeda in. That's the reason for the West to come in and get the, well, billions of barrels of oil total. 700 million just in the area Coney's people are still at, whether he's alive or not, his loyal supporters. trillions in rare earth minerals. Lithium, you name it, it's all there.